Great. Okay, well, welcome everybody. A lot of new faces today. I'm really pleased. I know folks have been spreading the word a little bit about us. I guess it's good because people are joining us this morning. So let me start with uh, a thank you to our sponsors, Care First Health Plan, Karen Ziegler Consulting Services, Valley Telecom Group, Kajit, and Triad Wireless. So we appreciate their support and need more, lots more. So anybody suggestions that you might have, would be glad to hear that. Secondly, is that we do have a lot of new people. So I would like to start with some introductions and a couple of people that I'd like to welcome back. Um, so Carla, you want to say hi? It's been a while since we've seen you. You've been very busy.
Yes, I have, but it's a good thing, right? Good
Yes,
morning,
indeed.
everyone. Good morning. I'm Carla Bernal Morales. I'm the Vice President of the Arizona Technology Council, and I'm very happy to be here with you all. I'll have announcements later on of what's happening at the Tech Council, but just wanted to say good morning.
Sounds great. Thanks, thanks, Carla. And Kelly, well, you've been here many times, and we're going to hear from you in just a little while. So we'll hold off on that. Meryl, would you want to introduce yourself, please? Glad to meet. We met
Sure.
yesterday morning. Glad you made it this morning.
Absolutely delighted to be here. My name is Meryl Kemp Wilcox. I work with Pima JTED, helping make sure we're aligned with major community movements and industry expansions and stuff that's going on in the world like this. So happy to be here.
Great. And you might just tell people what JTED is. Many of us in
Sure.
Tucson know what that is, but
Sure. So we are the local CTED, that's the Career and Technical Education School District. We provide career and technical education for over 26,000 students across Pima County, Santa Cruz, and parts of Pinal County. And so we're very interested in knowing things like what are the coming needs in technicians for broadband? What are the coming job opportunities? How can we be preparing to align our programming with those needs and with those industries so that we're preparing students in the right way. We serve 10th, 11th, and 12th graders and partner with everybody we can. So community college, university, etc., K-12.
anybody who's here in Tucson probably knows JTED and what a great job they're doing. They're a pretty awesome resource.
We
So,
try.
yeah, yeah. Well, you certainly have a great reputation. Known you guys for many years, and you guys are doing cybersecurity work too, are you not?
Absolutely. We have cybersecurity programs. We also have programming and app development software programs. And next year, we're going to roll out an AI program at our Bridges location.
These guys have been growing by leaps and bounds. Pretty awesome. So, Miles, you want to introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Miles Chandler. I'm a program manager from the Cradle to Career Partnership, anchored at the United Way of Tucson in Southern Arizona. I know, quite a mouthful. And my line of work is involving empowering STEM innovators, specifically making sure that the future STEM workforce of Pima County is both engaged and confident in their STEM abilities to ensure that we have a both robust and diverse STEM workforce.
Great, thanks, Miles. Actually, I think I don't know if they're all here today, but I think several of your people had wanted to be a part of this group. So welcome. We had folks from United Way some years ago, but so it's glad to have you guys back.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Great. So, Kristen, you want to introduce yourself? Kristen and I met a couple of years ago at an Arizona Technology Council. I think it was a cybersecurity event, as a matter of fact. So glad that you finally made it.
Yes, it
Give me
was
a hard time here, Kristen.
I'm sorry. My name's Kristen Beckendorf, and I am the regional manager for public sector. So education, government for Cisco Systems, and very happy to be here and hear about all the wonderful things that all of you are doing. Very exciting.
Great. So glad you were here. Actually, let me go back to. Let's see. So who else? Let me see who else we've got here this morning. Give me a minute. There we go. Marjorie. Marjorie Sabito, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Marjorie, and I am the executive assistant for Thinksilla. We are a D&I consulting firm, and we are based in ASU Scottsdale, and we serve clients nationwide and globally through marketing strategies and D&I programs. My CEO, Dr. Velma Traham, is also the founder of Millionaire Mastermind Academy, which is a nonprofit organization which increase entrepreneurial and corporate diversity and also provide entrepreneurs to be capital ready and provide them access to capital and funding.
Great. Thanks, Marjorie. Glad you joined us.
Yep.
Strider, you were here last week. Bill, you've been here. Let's see who else we got here. Sierra, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Good morning. I'm Kira Parkhurst, GIS data analyst doing broadband mapping with Arizona State University, and I'll be sharing some of our work with Kelly Mukherjee later on.
Sounds great. Thank you. Cyrus Duncan.
Hello, my name is Cyrus Duncan. I am a security engineer at Grand Canyon Education under Mike Manrod, my colleague, and lead Ed Brown is also on this call.
Great, thank you. Glad you're joining us this morning. Let's see who else we got here. Jim Baskin, John Hans, Kelly Bone. Mallory Duvall. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, sorry. I'm Mallory Duvall. I work with Consortia Consulting. We have several clients in Arizona and just trying to keep up with everything that's going on.
I think we saw a couple of your people who said they were interested in being part of this group.
It's definitely possible. I believe there's at least one other on the call.
Okay. And let's see, Miles, we've done. Anybody, who else did I miss? Anybody new that I've missed this morning?
Yeah, my name is Ed Brown. I'm with Grand Canyon Education as well. We're a service provider for Grand Canyon University, and as well as a couple other customers. I'm the lead engineer, kind of overseeing the engineering team in our IT security department.
So Ed, can you explain a little more about, are you a separate entity from Grand Canyon? Are you a part of Grand Canyon University? Or I've been a little confused about that.
At one point in time, we were part of Grand Canyon University, but as they split off and Grand Canyon University became a nonprofit again, the service provider portion of that's the for-profit was split off and it was Grand Canyon Education. And so we actually just are a service provider for them, and as well as Orbis Education, and we have a couple of high schools that are our customers as well.
Great. And I think I saw a couple of your people who were going to want to get involved with us also.
Yeah, Cyrus has already introduced himself. He's on. He's one of my engineers.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to gather more information about how we can benefit your group as well as your group can help benefit us as well.
Great. Did I miss anybody else? I know there's a couple of folks on phone that I don't know who they are.
Morning, Steve. This is Kyle Hildebrand with EX Squared Technology, joining by phone today. So
Oh, good.
in my office.
Good. Hey, we're privileged. You're here 2 weeks in was it 2 weeks in a row, or? Anyway,
try to be here
good.
every time I can.
That's awesome, Kyle. Glad to have you. Anybody else on the phone that I missed?
Morning, Steve. It's Laura Eder with Sun Corridor Network.
Good. Great, Laura. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Steve. This is Victoria Clark. I'm with Pima Community College, and I'm just with Workforce, and I'm here. Vice Chancellor Ian Rourke suggested that we start paying attention to these meetings, and I'm here to listen and learn and see what's up.
Great. Well, Victoria, I've been having a number of conversations. I did get to see the Vice Chancellor yesterday morning and previously, and have been talking with Nick and others about Pima Community College and the need for you guys to develop a strategic digital equity plan.
Exactly. We can't wait to be on board. Thanks.
Sounds great. So anybody else that I missed? Okay,
Hello
well,
again
great.
from
We have a lot of new
Francisco.
people. It's always good to have some fresh faces. So this morning's going to be a little bit different. The broadband office folks are not available this morning, so they will not be here. And so just a couple of quick things about them. So we've talked before on several different times about the subgrantee application process. As you know, that the digital equity plan is in the process of being approved, and they're going to be looking at how they go about subcontracting to organizations. And if you are interested in being a subcontractor, you can use their form, and it's included in my email announcement. It does not require you, if you put in there that you are interested, that you have some thoughts about what you want to be able to do, does not lock you in. It does. If you don't do that, you still may be able to be a sub-grantee. And if you do include it, and then decide you're not going to do this or you want to do something else, it's okay. It doesn't commit you to anything other than they're just trying to get an idea of who some of the subcontractees are. So moving on, I don't think Nick Capozzi from the governor's office is here this morning. And Nicole, I haven't seen you unless you joined recently. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started with the program this morning. But I did want to remind you again that, as you probably know, with the newsletter, and I know there's a lot of information there, and I've kind of changed the format to put the calendar up towards the top. But there are a lot of different events and things that we talk about at these meetings. And I try to capture all that stuff and provide contacts and links and all of that sort of stuff in my newsletter, because I know a lot of times it's hard to be able to capture information just from the chat. So just want to remind you to check out the newsletter and see all the different things that are going on. So with that, I'm just going to jump into our program this morning because we really have an awesome program. And I want to introduce, and Kelly has been here many times, Kelly Chung McCurgy. Is that how you pronounce your name, Kelly?
You got it, Steve.
Hey, what do you know? She's the Director of Technical Program Management for Broadband and Digital Inclusion at ASU. And I've got to tell you that when I talked to Kelly about presenting today, that one of the things I told her, I happened to have to review her background. And we don't normally ask people to talk about their family, but her family is just an amazing background in technology, and it's developed some of the technologies that we're all using today. So Kelly, I'm going to turn it over to you. But if you want to take a few minutes to talk about your parents and the work that they did, I think it would be pretty awesome and useful for the people here.
Oh my gosh, Steve, thank you. That is so kind. And my parents always said, be humble. So let's see how I can share without bragging too much. But thank you, Steve. My name is Kelly Mukherjee from ASU's Enterprise Technology. It is a pleasure to be with you all this morning. I've been with ASU for 7 years now. First 5 years was working on the ASU mobile app, ASU chatbot, and a number of other digital engagement products. As Steve was referring to, I do also come from the corporate world. I used to work for Motorola and AT&T, and very lucky that my parents immigrated from Taiwan, and they used to work for Bell Laboratories, AT&T. They spent their whole careers, over 30 years, in telecommunications. Actually, specifically on voice over IP technology, my mom has over 12 patents. She actually forgot how many patents she has, because every once in a while she'll get another check in the mail and she'll go, oh, I think another patent went through. But they're small checks. She doesn't get a lot of money. It really goes to AT&T. So really nice that, my parents both retired from AT&T Bell Laboratories. And then now I'm reconnected with all this broadband work in my capacity now at ASU. 2 years ago, CIO Lev Gonick asked me to focus on broadband and digital inclusion efforts. He asked me to drop my whole portfolio of digital engagement products. It included campus maps, Salesforce, web products, mobile apps, IoT, and he wanted me to give it all away. So I gave all the products, and handed them over. Which was it was scary for me because these were the products I knew and grew up with at ASU. And he said, don't worry, I have over 30 years of experience. So just follow me, I'll guide you along. And honestly, it's been so beautiful to learn under Lev's leadership. He comes with so much experience in Cleveland, Ohio, and probably other places I haven't even realized about Lev. He's a very humble man himself, but he has done some amazing things in Ohio, and he's bringing that same experience and passion here to Arizona, and we are so lucky to have him in the state of Arizona. So the work that we're sharing with you today is really based off of Lev's spirit and passion. And hopefully I can also carry on my parents' legacy in their work in broadband and telecommunications. So without further ado, Kira's actually going to help share our slides that we've put together for you today. We're also going to experiment with Slido. I've always played around with Slido in other people's presentations, but let's try today and see how it goes. Sometimes we have technical difficulties. Let's see if today goes smoothly for us. Thanks, Kira. So today we plan on sharing with you the Maricopa County Broadband Initiative, what that's all about. Happy to take questions too, so please feel free to communicate with us over chat, or if you'd like to raise your hand, or later on we can always have a conversation afterwards as well. So if you'd like to either join slido.com on your browser or use the QR code on your mobile device, we welcome you to collaborate with us, and we'd like to kind of get you to participate this morning with us. Give everybody just a moment to connect on slido.com. We've got some prompt questions that we would love to get a feel and get your thoughts while we're having this presentation today, as we don't want to just do a rote presentation. We'd like it to be collaborative. All right, anyone need more time? All right, I think we're ready to move forward. All right, so first question, what words come to mind when you think of broadband internet access? Like I told you, I feel like a broadband baby, I tell people, because I'm still learning. I'm learning every day. And boy, is there a big vocabulary here in the broadband and digital inclusion world. I had to learn about BEAD and NTIA and NDIA, all these new acronyms that I wasn't familiar with, ACA. Cool. And if there's a word that you see that really resonates with you, please feel free to repeat it also. This is a word cloud, and those words will simply get larger. It's awesome. Initiative, connection, connecting, collaboration. Love that, because we do need to work together. Expansion, yes. Necessary, absolutely. Necessity. Oh, there we go. Necessary. Really big. Fun. Okay. Looks like we got a lot of great answers. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to jump into well, how was ASU involved in broadband and digital inclusion? A couple of years ago, actually Kira Parkhurst, our GIS, our geospatial analyst, there we go, Kira. She helped us with a pilot program to help do some maps, create some broadband maps for Lev to be able to go talk to the Board of Supervisors. And they trusted in us and gave us $35 million, ASU, to partner with them and do quite a few things, right? And so Maricopa County is our sponsor. ASU is the main awardee of that grant. And then we partner with Sun Quarter Network for our broadband infrastructure expansion, and the Digital Equity Institute for digital skills building, digital navigator support, and device provisioning, and much more. ASU is responsible for the whole program and grant management, which I manage, and then I also lead a broadband mapping team. It's really a pleasure to work with everyone in this capacity. Next slide, Kira. So just to dive into what our ASU broadband mapping team looks like, we have data scientists, GIS specialists at ASU, UI UX design, ASU students. So here's a picture taken from the ASU Enterprise Technology Next Lab, where they get to experiment and innovate on what's next. They have over 50 students and a great leadership team led by Dan Munnerly. And we've been doing some projects with them on digital twins. So if anybody's doing digital twin work, I would love to meet you. Let's talk. We create 2D maps, and we're also doing 3D, and that's where digital twins come into play. Next slide. So our first task for the Maricopa County Broadband Initiative was to publish a scalable, interactive, public-facing map. And we did this in a matter of months. I think we started in January of 2023, and we published it in October 2023. Using ArcGIS Pro, and then putting it out on AZGeo, which is free for all to access maps. And then we created a web portal called AZ1. This was Lev Gonik's vision. He suggested that we write it like a highway sign, AZ-1, AZ to represent Arizona. And why the highway sign writing? It's because he wanted to remind us that connectivity for internet really should reach all parts of the state, much like the highway system does. You know, it just sprawls out, gets you connected. So that's a nice reminder for us. And the AZ1 web portal really has been a wonderful vehicle for us to come and reach out and get to know everyone that's working on different initiatives in the state. So we welcome you all here today to join us and connect with us. I will have a link to a Google form later, but if you just visit us at AZ1, I'll have the link to the web portal later as well. I think in the next slide. There we go. We've got a QR code that you're welcome to use, or I'm sure I'll give it to Steve as well after this meeting, so you'll have a direct link if you don't feel like visiting right now. But just while we're on this page, AZ1 was really born because we all need to work together. I think we can all agree to that. No one individual, no one entity can really do this work alone. And in fact, not only the state of Arizona has to work as one, but as a nation, we have to work together as one and align with Biden's initiative, Internet for All, right? Really, because we should work together as one country to provide internet for everyone. Maricopa County first asked us to create a Maricopa County broadband map. So we first did that in October. And then later we started hearing feedback that some of the smaller towns and cities wanted to see the same information. And so Maricopa County was very generous and said, ASU, go ahead and open it up since you have the data already. And we purchased data like Ookla data, and then took census data and FCC data, and we kind of put it all together. And luckily we got positive feedback. And so Maricopa County allowed us to go ahead and actually gave us the directive to go ahead and open it up. So we broadened it to the whole state of Arizona. So everyone should be able to come in and take a look. Now that begged to have us look at some of the other areas that already had broadband maps, like Pima County, who has done a beautiful job in leading the broadband and digital inclusion work. And so Michelle, Simon, and I are now good friends, and we have definitely gotten our broadband teams together. So recently we had a meeting with Pima County, City of Tucson, the ACA, the State Broadband Office, because why? We all want to align. We want to make sure that our maps are not confusing the community, We want to make sure that we're telling the same story. So in that meeting, I think we had a lot of nice action items that came out of that, of discovering where we might have some areas of improvement, making sure our data sets are aligned. And so that's the kind of effort that's taking place now because of our collaborations. So if you would like to join as one, we've got a Google form. This is what the QR code is going to take you to, a Google form for you to give us your logo, a little bit about yourself, and so we can add you on to the As One web portal. It is a portal of curated.
Look how tan you look.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Drew. Go ahead. Go ahead,
No.
Kelly.
No problem. It is a web portal of curated resources, and it could be for varied audiences with different tagging possibilities. And then, you know, once you're on there, if you have recommendations for us, we're a new web portal. We're not even a year old. So we welcome your feedback, as we all want to grow and get better each day as we can. So we have that agile mentality of each week, let's figure out how to get better, right? How do we improve? And so let's do that together as a team, as one. All right, Kira, is this where I hand it over to you?
Not quite. We have a couple more Slido questions to get through. So these two, I think there's maybe 2 or 3 more.
All right, I think these Slido questions are going to help prompt us on how Kira is going to give us a demo today. So we thought maybe we'd put the As One Arizona broadband map up. We'll show you a few things, but we'd really like to hear from you more of understanding how many people have actually visited As One already. Do you have anything in particular that you might be interested in us going through today? So, okay. Is this one just trying to find out who's here, Kira?
I think it might be that. Let me move to the next one.
Okay.
Okay. So here's an actual question.
There you go. Have you explored As One's Arizona broadband map? Let's take a quick poll and see. Well, this one has a timer. Ooh, cool. All right. So we've got a 75-25 split. So I hope we don't bore the 25% that have already visited. Thank you for coming. If you have feedback for us, we welcome that. So please feel free to email those to me. All right, what do you use broadband maps for? Is there a specific location or a data layer that interests you? This is where we're interested in trying to understand where your minds are at today. Determine the need, okay? Specific location. I think I want to know more about specific location. Okay, what does that mean? You want to dive into a specific location? Specific location's big. All right, we'll want to know like what specific location. I know we've got a big Pima County representation today, so I'm wondering if we want to dive into Pima County. If anybody wants to use a chat to specify more what you mean by that, maybe that'll help.
Yeah, during the demo, I can go into locations of interest. So please feel free to share in the chat where you're interested in looking at.
Okay, demographics, we can cover that today as well. Since we use census data, we have insights into demographics. And if there are more demographics that you're interested in that you didn't see us represent, we would love to hear what that is. Evidence-based decisions, awesome. That's what maps are used for. That's what data is used for. School connected data, would love to know more about what that means. Infrastructure planning, yes. Determine access, unserved, underserved communities, absolutely. List all the layers you have implemented, okay. Technologies used, okay.
I can definitely start by sharing the list of layers. So I can touch on this one. And that kind of includes some of the other ones like the infrastructure and technologies and schools. So yeah, we can get into that.
Nice. All right, Kira.
I think this might be the last one.
Awesome. How can we measure success of our work? Is this referring to our maps? How can we measure the success of our work, or of the maps specifically, you think, Kiara?
So our UI UX designer actually wrote this question for us. So I don't know what his mind, where direction his mind is going, but I believe this was generally like, how would you describe like a success metric for your own work personally?
And everyone has access. I like that. Adoption. Okay. Time, cost, satisfaction. Expansion of access, successful, accurate data, increasing access. Awesome. Building capacity, scaling. I love it. So nice when we get to hear from all of you. Hopefully it's getting you woken up this morning. All right, Kiara, maybe we move on to the next one.
All right, let's get into the demo. So I'm gonna exit out of this and move over to our maps. So I saw that people wanted to see a list of all of the layers we have, and so you can actually see that right here, interactive layers. But if you go down here, you can see the legend. So what are you actually looking at? Right now, the default layer that shows up is the % of households with a broadband subscription. And this is coming from the ACS 2018 to 2022 data. And you can find this under internet connectivity. So if you open up the internet connectivity group layer, you can see we have the different data sets separated out. So there's the current one that's turned on is the surveys from ACS. And we have a few other ones under here, more targeted on device ownership. So this is desktops or laptops, smartphones, other computing devices like tablets. But we also have the FCC data in here. So this is separated by fixed coverage, and this is broken down by census blocks or hexagons. And you can also filter either business or residential. And then the mobile coverage just includes these different categories. And finally, the speed tests from Ookla. So we aggregate this monthly, or at least we try to, and aggregate it by the last 12 months. So this should say May or June 2023 through May 2024. I forgot to update that. I will do that after this meeting. I always notice these things during live demos. But this is aggregated by city, block group, and block. And then if we go out of the internet connectivity and move to demographics, there are different layers. We actually have 4 different population layers. So there's the population density by tract or block group from the ACS, or you can actually look at the population of the population patterns during the night versus during the day. So this is from the Landscan data from the Argonne National Laboratory. And so that's kind of interesting to compare, like, where do people actually like go to school and work during the day versus where do they tend to spend the night or live, probably. Where's their actual residence? So then we also have a couple others that are not as large data sets, like there's the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund under grant funding. And I know there are a lot more different grant funding layers that could be here, but that's something that will be continued to be worked on and integrated into this map. And so another one is fiber networks. Obviously, it's really hard to get more data for this area. So we only have the state-owned fiber from the Arizona Department of Transportation, but that in itself is a pretty useful layer. Different community anchor institutions, so libraries, schools, hospitals, and medical facilities are very important to this work. We also have a layer from our partner Digital Equity Institute, and they have hives where people can go and access things like free Wi-Fi and devices and get help from digital navigators. So they have their locations also on here. They're also continuing to open more, so that layer will expand in the future. So different boundaries, we have different ways you can look at the data. So counties, zip codes, cities, unincorporated areas is always an area of interest. urban areas, residential zoning, tribal areas, and also you can break it down by land ownership. So I think I covered everything in here, but now I can move into how would I actually use this. So let's say you're interested in an unincorporated area of Maricopa County. I'm just going to focus on this. Were there any mentions of specific places in the chat that we want to dive into? Okay, I'll keep an eye on that. If anyone wants to look at any specific locations, I will kind of pivot. But for now, I'm going to focus on what I had planned, which was to look at Maricopa County. So I'm going to zoom in. And if I want to know where the the unincorporated areas are, I'm going to go ahead and turn on this layer. This layer. And this is going to have a crosshatch over all of the unincorporated areas. So now I can see, let's go over to this corner. Let me just check my notes and make sure I'm staying on track. Okay. All right, so let's say now I know where my unincorporated area is in Maricopa County, or one area that I want to focus on. Now I want to pinpoint areas that lack adequate broadband service. So I'm going to go back to the internet connectivity group layer. And from the legend, I can see that just over, since this is like light blue, and we'll match it to this one, just over half of households in this area have a broadband subscription, according to the ACS data. But if I want to know the exact percent in the census tract, I can simply click on this area, and this box will pop up, and it might show the fields for another layer first, like unincorporated areas, like it's currently doing. But I can click on this arrow here to see the details from the next layer that it grabs, which is ACS data. So now I can scroll down and see that 84.2% of households have a desktop or laptop. There's other information here, like 95% have any kind of computing device, or if I want to look at, excuse me, I have also the other ACS data in here. So the percent of households broken down by income and how that relates to internet subscriptions as well. So there's a lot of information in this table. All right, so now I'm going to turn off the ACS layer and explore the provider reported fixed and mobile coverage from the FCC. So you can see that there is a mix of served and unserved census blocks in this area. If I want to look at mobile, okay, it's lagging a little bit. It looks like most of it has 4G or 5G, with some of the more rural areas only able to access voice coverage, that's in gold, or there's like no coverage whatsoever. That's the empty areas there. All right, so the last internet connectivity data set we have available to explore is the Ookla speed test data. And like I said, you can look at different geographies for this. And the way it was aggregated was using the maximum download and upload speeds reached in that area to calculate the served status. So you can go back down to the legend and see that. And it looks like there's a pretty significant lack of speed test data in this area, which makes sense, although there is a mix of served and underserved blocks along the major highways. Finally, you can use demographic layers to highlight the impact of broadband expansion on communities to support grant applications for funding and to demonstrate the need for investment in specific areas. So I'm going to turn off the internet connectivity layer again for now and move back to demographics. And there's a lot to dig into here, but I did want to show the difference between the nighttime and daytime population, just so you can see what this looks like. You can see like the different areas, how like movement patterns from day to night. So that's really interesting and useful. And that also helps me narrow my area of focus. So now I can see where there's more population centers to focus on, like these ones along this highway. Let's see, just checking my notes again. All right, so I could zoom into these areas for a closer look and go through all these layers again and layer them and see different things. But just for this purpose of this demo, I'm going to zoom back out to Maricopa County, just so I can show what the other layers look like on a larger scale. I'm going to turn off the unincorporated really quick. All right, I'm gonna, oh, I see a chat. What is the data source for the specific breakdown values of details you had demonstrated, percent of homes with laptop? How is the Ookla speed test data acquired, given the speed test requirements for the challenge process could not include wireless connections and had to be direct connected direct? Okay, so the Ookla speed test data, Ookla gave us a set of filters for quality assurance, and one of them, one of the options that you can filter for is different types of connections, so wireless versus direct connections. I would have to double check and make sure I know which filter we have for this data, but I could get back to you on that. But if you have Ookla data, it is possible to filter for that. And also, if you have a request for something you'd like to see on this map, and it wouldn't be like Ookla speed test points because we can't share that, but it could be aggregated to block groups over like a time period. And we could use the specific filters you're looking for and create a new layer. That's always possible. Like we said, this map is always changing. We're always iterating and looking for ways to improve it. So yeah, feel free to reach out and let us know what you want to see for those filters. And then for the first part of your question, what's the data source for the values of the device access? So that's coming from the American Community Survey, ACS data. And that's from 2018 to 2022. So it's a 5-year aggregation. I'm not sure if I answered that properly. Does that answer your question?
So how often do they do that ACS survey?
It's annually. So it comes out, I think next will come out in December of this year. So it's data we have came out last December.
Okay.
All right, awesome. All right, I'm going to go back to this. So at a higher level, you can see income patterns, educational attainment. Just going to go through these kind of quickly. This was not directly from ACS. This was something that I did in ArcGIS Pro. I found the intersection of persistent poverty, also from the census, and undersubscribed. So what is undersubscribed? That's this one. This layer is below average. So the average is 72% of households have a fixed broadband subscription. And so this is what this is not an official metric. ASU team decided to use this as a way to look at the data. And so we found the intersection of this layer and the persistent poverty layer from the census, and this is the result of those. So these areas in orange are high priority from our perspective. And then moving down, we have percent poverty. This one's kind of confusing. This is the persistent poverty is over a larger time period. So starting from 1990, this one is just from the last 5-year data set. And this is a percentage. So yeah, that's the difference between those. This one, health coverage, is talking about insurance. So health insurance coverage. This one, housing unit density, pretty self-explanatory. And then this one is it's the percent of population of 65 years and over. So we have other age data, but I didn't want to kind of overwhelm this map with all the different age layers we could put on there. So again, this is one where we really need to hear someone say, we need to see this, and then I'll add it to the map. I haven't heard any requests for other different age groups, but if there are, then we'd be happy to add them. We do have that ACS data in our database, so not too difficult to add that in.
Kira, we do have some more questions that came in on the chat. Kristen was asking if there is a fiber connectivity availability option on the map or possible carrier fiber available in the area for specific uses.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, like I said, the fiber data is very limited. It's hard to get access to that. So we just have the Arizona Department of Transportation. These are publicly owned fiber networks. So we don't have any ISP fiber right now. And that's because they keep it pretty like secure. They don't want to share that. So we do not have that available currently, but that would be nice to have that for sure. I also saw a question about total number of responses to the survey. So the survey I'm referring to is the American Community Survey, which is from the census. That's not a survey we conducted, that's from the census. So they do have like a total population count, and I think that it might be if I just click on any of them. Okay, well, yeah, that's not very easy to find directly, but there is a field in all of the ACS tables that tells you the number of people that were surveyed, and then you can calculate that percentage from that. And then can we use the map to see just specific cities like Phoenix? So you can't currently filter for a city, but you can zoom into it and take a closer look. So technically, yes, you can use the map to look at specific areas, but it's not going to there's no filtering tool to specifically focus on that area, if that makes sense. But again, if there is a need for that, if you want to be able to filter the data and kind of just get rid of all the noise around Phoenix, then that's something we'd be happy to add. Just kind of hoping for requests to come in so we can start iterating on this and making it better and improving it. So yeah, I'll take a note of that one. Another interesting layer is the reported ISP data for coverage. Yeah, that's the FCC data. So again, you can find that under internet connectivity. And this is the provider reported from the FCC, both of these. Have you implemented a layer for ACP data over time? No, we do not have an ACP data layer. I would love to know where we could find one. That would be great. Oh, cool. Thank you, Kelly. All right, awesome. Any other kind of questions or things people would like to see before I wrap up?
This is a great job, Sierra. This is super cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really happy to share it with you guys today. I'm really happy to be here. I've never been to one of these meetings before, so maybe I'll start coming more frequently. Yeah. All right, I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you so much for having us, Steve. We're happy to take any questions, or we welcome everyone to come and reach out. We're trying to make more friends here in the state of Arizona so that we can work together as one. So please feel free. I did put my email address in the chat, but on As One, there's a way for you to contact us. So if you lose my name or my email address, no problems. You can find us on As One. Hopefully you can remember the As One name. And then, provide us your logo. Let's help amplify what your team is doing. And also, before I finish, we are looking now in our next phase of As One to share community impact stories. So if you in your communities know of how people have positively been impacted by the wonderful work that's being done by the people that are just working so hard on the ground, helping people with maybe ACP signups or just anything, device distributions, helping a senior learn how to use new digital skills. We want to collect some stories, and then we want to be able to share them. We have a vision for creating another map that's geolocated with pins of different stories happening around in the community, so everyone can feel so proud of sharing out the stories. So please feel free to reach out. We would love to collect your stories.
So Kelly, I want to schedule some time with you. I have a lot of things to discuss with you. I don't want to do that in this forum, but let's schedule some time soon.
Gotcha.
But one thing, Kelly, can you talk about, so you met with Sandeep and I guess Chris is on the line and others. So can you talk a little more about how this integrates with the map that that the broadband office is developing?
Sure, I will try my best, but really the best answer comes from the ACA directly. My understanding is that the ACA produced broadband maps more for the BEAD challenge, and they're specific for the BEAD challenge. So once the BEAD challenge and the BEAD process is over, their maps will go away. So they have a one-year contract with their provider who created their maps. And they've said that the As One map will live for much longer. So that's why we're happy to work with the community on what do you want to see long term. We're happy to try to incorporate that in our iterations of map creation so that we can help the community. I mean, we have a really nice opportunity from Maricopa County and the federal government to create these maps for everyone here in Arizona. So we want to make them useful for you.
So Kelly, can you talk briefly, we can't give you too much more time, but to just talk a little bit about some of the other projects you're engaged in. This is a biggie, obviously, but can you talk a little more about some of the other things that you're leading the charge on?
Well, I mean, as one, we're trying to now create a LinkedIn social media presence. And so we're hoping to use that as a vehicle to help amplify. So as we learn more about your organizations, we would love nothing more than to help also pass that on through LinkedIn, help amplify, pass around. So that's one project. Like I said, we're working on the storytelling project where we're hoping to partner with the ASU Cronkite School of Mass Journalism so that we can get some student storytellers to help gather stories and share them out. As in our partnership with DEI, we're setting up what we're calling hives, like beehives. It's a concept that Lev Gonick started up in Cleveland, Ohio. And so he's bringing that here to Arizona. We now have several hives stood up in the Valley. And they're really digital tech centers where we are outfitting them with different digital devices. You can learn about VR headsets. You can use them. They're available for all ages and demographics. You can get free Wi-Fi there. There are navigators there on the spot to help you live as well. And then the Sun Corridor Network is working on different infrastructure expansion projects, middle mile, last mile type work. So does that cover it? There are a lot of things going on. And digital twin projects, I think we're looking for a partner to possibly work on some digital twins. We've been talking to the Maricopa County Library District, and we've been working with the state library as well. So the more conversations we have with the community, the better we can connect and understand where all the fun intersections might be to partner together.
Kelly, people may not know what a digital twin is.
Okay, let me try my best. I am not a digital twin expert. I am learning, but digital twins are supposed to be a replica of the real world. So my favorite example is a car. Like most of us have cars. And on some fancier, maybe more recent cars, you might be able to see maybe your tires. What's the pressure of your tires on a digital screen, right, in your car? Or, what's the health of your engine right now? Or how much gas are you using? Or electricity are you using in your car? So that I consider a digital twin because it's trying to model and show you like a digital replica, and you're be able to see behind the scenes without actually being like in the car, right? So a digital twin could mean, all right, we're going to create a Pima County, a replica in a digital format so we can actually do some infrastructure planning before we actually start investing in the dollars to do the construction. That is one use case for digital twins is when you replicate it. Or maybe we're talking to the libraries right now. Can we possibly create a twin of the library so that maybe if the libraries don't have enough physical space, we might be able to create now a digital world where we're still making it accessible to people because people that might not have a laptop, actually, we have a lot of citizens here and residents in Arizona that have smartphones. Okay, great. Can we make a smartphone mobile friendly type technology and digital twin where people can come and visit the library off their phone or come and see what's available so that they can plan their visit to the library. So we're experimenting and having conversations and fun brainstorming sessions on what's next here in Arizona for our residents.
Thanks, Kelly. Any other questions for Kelly before we move on? Going once, going twice?
I guess
Okay.
I'd ask a question, Steve, you asked that question about the relationship to the ACA broadband map. It seems to me that, as I understand it, the AS1 map is based on ACS broadband subscription data, whereas the ACA map is based on service provider information about service in those regions. Is that right? Is that the fundamental difference that in terms of broadband availability?
Kiera, are you able to speak to that? I wish we had the ACA on.
I'm so sorry. I was reading the chat and I did not hear your question.
Okay, I was saying the difference between the ACA broadband map is that it's based on service provider data on their service, and the ASU map is based on ACS subscription survey data.
Okay, so the AS1 map has a lot of different data in it. It's almost a data lake at this point. It has FCC data, Ookla speed tests, and ACS American Community Survey data, among other different data sets as well. But those are the main three broadband ones. The ACA data, I think, is mainly FCC. I have to check that, but anyone can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I think it's FCC data.
Well, it's FCC and service provider updates with the service providers saying what service they provide in terms of, broadband service they provide in each location, and then challenged by the, communities through this challenge process. So it's based on, from a service provider and challenge process perspective, whereas you're using this survey data from the ACS, which I don't know how, you say it's updated annually, but is it about 2 years old or something?
Well, Henry, I think the main difference between the ACA's maps maybe and ours is that the Ookla data is really what's valuable on the AS1 maps. And Ookla are self-reported speed tests that people are actually taking from their homes or their places of work or libraries. So that's different than the FCC. And we're seeing a difference in, what the FCC is based on ISP reported data.
Well, what percentage of the people are doing these self-reported tests? They're doing the same self-reported testing for the challenge process in the B data.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare the data in the two maps.
Right. I think they're different purposes. They're serving different purposes. So the BEAD challenge is saying, hey, this is what the FCC says. Who's seeing something different, right? If you're seeing something different, come let us know, or take some speed tests and prove to us why it's not right, right? And that's what the challenge process is all about.
And we need to, I'm sorry, Kelly, just finish up and we got to move on. I didn't mean to interrupt you. You're right in the middle of something. Okay, so let's jump into just a couple of quick things. Elena, are you still here? You were here a minute ago.
I'm here.
Oh, so Elena, just a quick update on ACP.
Yeah, and I put it in the chat because I didn't know if there would be updates. The only real update today is that 2 House reps are supposed to introduce today a companion bill to the Lujan bill, which includes the funding for ACP. And so everybody's really focused on that particular bill. And so there will be a companion bill that gets hopefully introduced today. But that's really the only update right now. Okay,
thank you. Anthony, you got anything for the state library and what you're working on, please?
Hi there, Anthony with the State Library and the Digital Inclusion Consultant. And I just wanted to reiterate, we still have a job posting open for a new digital navigator, and that closes the 30th, so just a few days left. But I will leave a link to that posting in the chat and happy if you'd like to share it out. Thank you.
Thank you. So any other announcements that people have? So just a couple of quick things. In the next few weeks.
Steve, Matthew here, and please forgive me for interrupting. I was a little late for your last call. For the team here on the line today, Matthew Suchadolski, I serve as the general field representative for the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Rural Utility Service, specifically for telecommunications and broadband, of which broadband is a subset of. I want to let folks know that USDA has recently made an announcement for a newish program, I should say. It's new, it's kind of new. Broadband Technical Assistance, and of course it goes by the BTA acronym. I just want to let folks know it's a good opportunity to capitalize upon this announcement. Broadband technical assistance, feasibility studies, planning, analysis. I'm sure some of the activities could, pretty darn certain that some of these activities could fund these virtual clone or digital twin models per se, especially if they are a industry standard. I'm going to stop there because I came to today's your meeting a little late, so I don't want to appear rude, but I will funnel in a few links for the broadband technical assistance program, which will, get folks familiar with it and get them on the path to putting together an application. Applications are due, I believe, in August. There will be two webinars, one on July 17th and then one on July 31st. So again, I'll, for the sake of brevity, I'll be quiet and I'll start filling the chat box with that links for that.
No problem, Matthew. And actually, you will take some time at a future meeting to learn more about that, about who can apply for that grant and for that funding and all that sort of stuff. So definitely appreciate you jumping in. I also thought, Matthew, maybe I always tell people I have a good memory, just a little short. Didn't USDA also have some maps?
Yes, USDA does have a set of GIS maps, and I believe some of them may be available on the national broadband map that, yet again, FCC maps, et cetera, NTIA under Commerce has, yes. And let me take some time today and look around and make sure I can share the latest, greatest, and most accurate link to access that. I'll have to follow up after today's meeting, but I will do so.
Hey, thank you, Matthew. Appreciate you joining us this morning. So again, a couple of quick things. Of course, there's no meeting next week on July the 4th. Give you guys a break. And then the following weeks, I'm not sure, I'm working on getting a couple of things lined up. I had a great conversation with, I think Mitch is gone, Mitch Gorson with, excuse me, with Cisco. But he arranged, are you still there, Mitch? So Mitch, I really appreciate he arranged a great meeting with his team to talk about what they're doing, what opportunities there are, some grants and other kinds of things. And so we're going to schedule a time to meet with Mitch and his team again. And we'll probably take a whole meeting to talk about the stuff that they're doing and where there's opportunities for collaboration and partnerships and so forth. So we're going to do that. And then there's another organization. Chris, are you still online? There's an organization that the city of Tucson is using to help with some of their planning. And they are doing amazing work. And so I've talked with them, and they want to do a presentation and get involved with us. So we'll be getting them engaged. And then probably on the 25th, tentatively, that we're going to do the workshop that I've talked about several times in talking about municipal networks, the pros and cons and benefits of municipal networks. So we'll be working on trying to get that scheduled tentatively on the 25th. So those are just some of the things that we've got coming up in the early part of next year. So that's and then the other thing is that I'm really toying around with going back to what we did when we first started this group back in 2020 and getting some work groups going. And the reason for that there's a number of things, at least it's in my opinion, about some important things. One of which you've heard me talk about many times, is the issue of sustainability. So we've got this digital equity money coming, but what happens when it's all gone? And are we building in the sustainability so that when that's gone, that there's going to still be more sustainability, more ongoing after that money is gone? And then secondly, and related to that, is that we know that there's multiple sources of funds out there that we have not really tapped. And as far as I can tell, we don't have a good strategy for looking at identifying all of those resources, helping people to go after those grants and so forth. I've had some good conversations with the Arizona First Economic Recovery Center that does some of that. I'm actually going to be talking to Sandeep a little bit later today. And so those are just some of the things that I think are really important as we move ahead. While it's great to see all this money coming, but is it $16 million we're getting for digital equity is not a lot of money. And so when you start spreading that around and then it's gone, what happens afterwards? And there's a lot, and even with the 16 million, there's going to be lots of groups who aren't going to get that money. And so there's still going to be a need for more funding for digital equity. And so I think we need to address those kinds of issues. So I'm anticipating that we're going to figure out how to start addressing some of those issues at future meetings. Any other announcements, thoughts, comments that people have? If not, as you know, that we do offer the opportunity for kibitzing after this meeting. I stop the recording and sometimes people hang on. We'll have one person, 3 people, no people, and it's just an informal opportunity to chat. I know people are ready to be moving on. Just one last thing. There was a couple people, and it looks like most of them probably dropped off already from Pima Community College. But Bill, it was good to see you yesterday at that workforce summit down here in Pima County. And I think that there's lots of opportunity there for you, not only with the Pima Community College, but all the community colleges around the state. And I know you've already been reaching out to a lot of those folks.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. I mean, it was a great session, and the thing I walked away with being most impressed with was the representation was so broad-based across the state and all the counties, and representation, from all the key stakeholders. So that bodes well for the success of, BEAD in Arizona, in my view.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Okay, is there anything else that anybody wants to share? If not, I'm going to stop recording, and if people want to hang on and chat or not, that's certainly up to you.